back, subscribers, to Meals with Michael. So today we're doing a vegetarian chili, and I was just somewhat joking with my husband a minute ago that I found this recipe and I immediately changed it before I even tried it because that's what I do. I look at recipes, I think, oh, it's a good start, but we'll make some changes. So we are doing a 4-bean vegetarian chili. This is actually a good thing to bring in for possibly Thanksgiving or a potluck where you have some of your vegetarian friends coming over and you want to make sure that they can have things. The great thing about this is you can use all kinds of stuff with leftover chili. What I'm doing right now is I'm baking a salted olive oil potato in the oven right now. It's been going for about a half hour. It needs about another half hour. And I'm going to use that as my base and put the chili on the potato. So chili on baked potato. Great idea, if I do say so myself. So we have many spices, as you can see, many beans, liquids, all this kind of stuff that we're going to do. So I've been heating it a couple of tablespoons of olive oil on the stove here. And we're going to add in our vegetables, fresh vegetables. So I have 1 medium onion that I diced up. And I used a yellow sweet onion. You can use a red onion if you want. But I like yellow sweet for these kinds of things. And the sizzle, remember, sizzle is good. Sizzle means we're cooking. I have a large and medium carrot, which came up to about 2 cups of chopped carrot. And I have them at different sizes. And I broke a cardinal rule on cooking. They always say have everything exact same size so it all cooks together at the same time, same temperature, same doneness and everything. Well, I actually don't want it at the same doneness. I want some of my carrot to be softer and some of it to actually be crunchier. So I have a mixed sizing of small and medium, about 2 cups of carrot that I diced up. Various sizes, as I mentioned. And I have 4 ribs of celery stalk that I split down the middle and I chopped up. Took off the ends, took off the heads. Not using leaves in this one. Last one I was making a soup, and I like to use leaves in that when I'm making a soup or a stock or something like that. But in this one, it's just going to be the chili. So we're just putting in the celery. And I have 1 medium-sized bell pepper that I split up and chopped as well. You can use red bell pepper, orange, yellow, whatever floats your fancy. I use green for a couple of reasons. One is they're more plentiful and year-round than the colored ones are. 2, they're actually cheaper. These are $1 each versus $2.69 a pepper. So, cheaper meal. We'll kind of go with that. So we got all of our vegetables in here. Giving that a nice stir. And we're going to cook that. We're going to add a little salt. Just a couple of dashes. And we're going to cook this for about 7 to 10 minutes until the vegetables start to get soft. So we'll see you in about 7 to 10 minutes. Alright, welcome back. It has been about 7 to 8 minutes, and as you can see, our vegetables are cooking down here, becoming nice and soft and tender. And what we're going to do at this point is we're going to add in some of our, well, actually most of our spices that we're doing. And I've actually done quite a spice concoction here. So I have ground cumin, not ground cumin, cumin seed. The recipe called for ground cumin. I didn't have ground cumin. So I'm using cumin seed to get the flavor, and I've gone a little bit more than the recipe called for because I don't have ground. So I'm doing 1.5 teaspoons of cumin seed. I'm also doing 2 tablespoons of chili powder. I'm doing 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. 1.5 teaspoons of ground oregano. Doing 1.5, or actually 1 teaspoon, of cayenne pepper, because we don't have enough heat yet with chili powder. We gotta go with cayenne pepper. And then I'm adding in 4 teaspoons of minced garlic. That's 4 cloves essentially of garlic. Give that a stir. Get all of our flavors in together. Coat it all. Now you could just do this if you want, but it's a 4-bean chili, so we gotta add our beans. See, it's drying up the pan. We're gonna add stock to it a little bit. So for our 4 beans, I have kidney beans, 1 can of kidney beans that you have drained and rinsed. Important to rinse them off. Get rid of all that starch and those canned juices and everything. Because you want a fresher flavor even though it's canned. Then I have 1 can of pinto beans. Same thing, drained and rinsed. And how do you know when all the starch is gone? When you are rinsing this off, it actually foams up, the starch foams up. So when all that foam is gone, the starch is pretty much gone. So you can then shake it out, drain it, strain it, and be ready to go. So I'm actually adding chickpeas, garbanzo beans, whatever the case may be. Again, another can, drained, rinsed. Now we're starting to look a little bit like chili. And for my final bean, I'm going to add 2 cans of black beans. So definitely again, drained and rinsed out. Again, stir up. You want to incorporate everything. Okay. And then I'm going to add in 2 cans of diced tomatoes with their juices. Now, I chose, because it's a chili and I like things spicy, I chose the diced tomatoes that come with onions and green peppers and chilies as well, because why not? It's a little extra. So we give that a stir. Try to anyway. It's getting rather thick and heavy. This is a real good meal prep item, or if you have a big family to feed. In my case, it'll be a meal prep because I don't have a big family to feed. Awesome. This is going to be good. I love a chili that you can actually see all the components of the chili. Okay. So now I have 2 cups of vegetable stock, because it's a vegetarian chili, folks. You are not adding in chicken stock. Now, if you didn't care if this was actually vegetarian, you just want a 4-bean chili and everything, you could add beef stock to this to get the more beefy flavor to it. But obviously, I'm keeping this vegetarian, so I'm adding in 2 cups of vegetable stock. I have a couple other cups of vegetable stock just sitting off to the side, because as this cooks, if I need more liquid, I can do that. But right now, this is where we are at. And then we're going to add in a couple of splashes of red wine vinegar. The acidic side of this is actually pretty good. So this is actually a couple of teaspoons of red wine vinegar. You can use sherry vinegar if you wish to do so. But of course, I'm doing red wine. Give that a quick stir. And then we're going to add in about 2 to 3 bay leaves. So we're just going to add that to our mix here. Then we're going to bring this to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, cover it, and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. So a lot of different ingredients in this, pretty quick to assemble. Prep time takes a while. It took me about an hour to prep everything, wash, chop, get it all together, drain, rinse, all the different things you needed to do. So this could be a weeknight meal if you start early enough, but more likely it might be a weekend type of a thing, because I'm not having this completely tonight because it's going to be late for me when I start this up. But we're bringing this to a boil. We're going to reduce it to a simmer. We're going to cover it and let it go for 30 minutes. So we'll see you in about 30 minutes. All right, we are back for our final stage with our chili. It has been 35 to 40 minutes. I need it to go a little bit longer, but I fished out the bay leaves. Took off the lid, fished out the bay leaves, give it a quick stir. Did not need to add any more liquid to this. If this is too liquid for you, there's a couple things you can do. You can take some out and you can blend it in a blender or use an emulsion blender and just kind of keep a little bit of that to make it thicker. You can also do a slurry, which is cornstarch and water that you have whisked together, and then you pour it in here. It's maybe a tablespoon of cornstarch to kind of thicken up where you're at here for us. But I actually like this. I think it's good the way it is. So we are going to add in, as a final flourish, cilantro. So I have a couple of tablespoons of chopped fresh cilantro that I did that we're just going to stir in at the end here. Quick taste test for any other seasonings that we might need. I keep on looking for meat. It's a vegetarian chili. Never mind. Yes, this is good to go. You've got the smokiness of the paprika and the chili powder. And of course you've got cayenne pepper in there, which is hitting the back of my throat off of this. The oregano, you really don't taste the oregano, but it adds an undertone, which is kind of nice for this. The sherry vinegar kind of worked with that as well. So earlier, I mentioned my baked potato. So what I did is I took a russet potato, cleaned, patted it dry, put it on a baking sheet with parchment paper, heated my oven to 425 degrees, poured olive oil on this, rubbed it in really good, got some good salt, like sea salt, and crusted it, rubbed in the sea salt. You know, after I poked holes in my potato, because you got to poke holes, let the steam out. Poked holes in my potatoes, baked it for an hour. So you can actually do this as a dish where you are doing chili over your baked potato. So one, it makes your chili last a little bit longer. Two, it gives you something else to do. So here we have a nice vegetarian meal option. 4-bean chili over a salty crusted baked potato. I hope you enjoyed this with Meals with Michael, and we will see you soon next time. Be sure to tell your friends, tell your neighbors, be sure to subscribe so you know when these pop up, and we'll see you next time on Meals with Michael. Enjoy!